go ahead and start with Godfrey.
Yep. Good evening. It is Tuesday. What is the date?
31st.
The 31st.
March 31st.
Yep. So we are here today for the public hearing, one of two of the public hearings to discuss the budget and the warrant articles and any questions that folks may have. So in a moment here, we will take a motion to begin the public hearing.
So we make a motion to begin the public hearing at 6 o'clock.
Second. John DeSantis.
Yes.
Marianne Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Albee. Yes. With a vote 3-0, you have opened the public hearing at 6 p.m. Jackson Leonard is absent with notice. Jimmy Walker is maybe joining us by Zoom in a little bit. We're hoping he gets on here. So tonight is kind of like the in-person town meeting portion where we go through the articles, we see if anybody has any questions, we take their advice, we listen to it, and then you guys can take it under advisement for future things. You guys can ask questions to clarify what they're asking and things like that. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Everybody should have a copy of the draft warrant in front of them. And,
Excuse me. I've got a couple of general questions that
absolutely,
aren't on, the warrant specifically.
okay.
So I don't know if I could ask those now, if that's okay.
Sure.
The first one is on the debt service. I believe the fire department building bond is, I don't know if that's coming off now. That was part of that question. The second thing is, does that include the library bond debt service, or that doesn't come on until next year?
So library debt service does not come on till next year, and the fire bond is still on there until 2032,
What was,
or the
there
fire
was, there was
rescue.
something that was coming off,
Yep, we had a
this
public
year.
works that one, or a water one that came off this year.
oh, okay. I thought
So,
it was-
We will
I thought it
be,
was the
except for the library bond, which will be a 10-year bond, everything else we will be debt-free from by the end of this decade.
fire. Okay. And my other question was on gasoline, diesel, heating. I noticed some decreases in those amounts. And I don't know when the budget was decided on in relation to everything that's happening now. With the increase in prices, if they stay up, how is that going to affect the budget that we have?
We have signed contracts with them for these amounts, and these are guaranteed to us for the entire fiscal year next year.
I didn't realize you had contracts
Yes.
already.
We do. We checked into that beforehand.
Certainly glad you did.
Great questions, though.
But those are my questions for right
Okay.
now. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, yeah.
So Article 1 is to choose a moderator. That is just who presides over the meeting. Article 2 is to elect by secret ballot 2 select persons for a term of 3 years, 2 RSU 16 directors for a term of 3 years, 1 RSU 16 director for a term of 2 years, and 2 budget committee members for a term of 3 years. And I do have to go back and say the draft warrant is incorrect. It is 1 select person and not 2. So that needs to be changed, and we will change that on this end. So Article 3, shall the ordinance entitled Poland Comprehensive Land Use Code, Section 509.8.A.1, Submission Requirements, 606.3.C, Final Plan for Minor Subdivision, 608.2A, Final Plan, and 805.1 Submission Requirements be amended. What this deals with is, I can speak to this one, it's very easy, is rather than saying that they need 2 or more stable-based paper copies sent to us, now we're just saying they need to send us 2 paper copies as required by the Registry of Deeds. That way, as the Registry of Deeds change what they need submitted to them for plans, it changes in our book automatically. We don't have to keep going back and changing it. So that one's a really easy, simple one. It just makes it easier on the developers and stuff we're working with and the engineers. So not much to that one. The next article, which is Article 4, shall the ordinance entitled Poland Comprehensive Land Use Code, Chapter 14 Definitions be amended And I am gonna let our code enforcement officer, Scott Neal, talk a little bit about that one.
This is specifically for fabric-covered shelters. They're going up everywhere, and I can't keep chasing them down. So they're temporary, as long as they meet setbacks and lot coverage, and they're not the shoreline, then we're not gonna require permits for them anymore.
Those are like the little Parker Conrad or whatever, okay.
On private property,
On any property that would allow an accessory structure. So a vacant property still wouldn't allow an accessory structure because there's no accessory
right,
to it, so you couldn't put them there. But if you have a house or a business, you use them, a business might change, because if it's over a certain amount of square footage, they probably have to come back for site plan.
are you seeing a lot of these, or?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're all over the place, and nobody knows that they need permits for them, and then I've chased down quite a few of them,
Mm.
but they just keep coming, and it just doesn't seem like it's worth the town's effort.
Yeah,
I have to
Thanks,
admit, I
Ann.
wouldn't have known I needed a permit either.
What's that?
I wouldn't have known I needed a permit.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, and some people are getting away with going, okay, I won't have that, instead I'll just put tarps over my stuff. So,
oh yeah, then it's a loophole.
yeah,
And it's not as attractive. So
Yeah.
anyway, okay,
so.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Article 5, shall the ordinance entitled Poland Comprehensive Land Use Code, Section 504.3.f.1 and 504.3.f.2a, Planning Board Special Review for a legal non-conforming single-family dwelling located in a shoreline zoning district be amended. Again, I will let Scott Neal take this one as the code enforcement officer and explain it.
So in shoreline, relocation and reconstruction of structures, the planning board is allowed to look at that and say, you know, greatest practical extent would allow them the 20-foot side setback. If they had 20-foot side setbacks, then it would meet better for the shoreline zone, for the shoreline setback. But when you go to expand, it doesn't allow you to use that 20 foot. So we've included expansion in that definition. But the planning board would then have to look at it for greatest practical extent. So if that expansion didn't meet what they thought was greatest practical extent, they couldn't give that 20 foot setback. So,
Any questions?
what's that?
Zach, who do we have on?
Jimmy.
Just him, Jimmy? Okay. Just want to make sure we're not missing any public that we may have on. Any questions about that? Stan?
I do have one question that I don't know where it falls. I read something about a moratorium being requested on solar farms, so that doesn't come under this. Is that a separate?
Yep, that's
article
separate.
that
That's the last article that we'll go over tonight, which is Article 17.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, thank you.
All right, so now we're going to move into the municipal articles. We are all done with you.
You know,
Scott, we don't need you for that. Thank you for
Thank you
staying.
for staying, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Appreciate it.
See you soon.
Good night.
Have a
Me
good
too.
night.
So Article 6 starts pretty much our municipal town budget and where we go from there. And so I'd like to start off by just giving kind of an update to our proposed budget that we're proposing. That's all included in these draft warrant articles. And that's that the municipal expense side of the budget is an increase of 2.43% over last year's budget, and revenue increased 4.55% due to the release of new revenue sharing numbers from the state. So we're coming in at 2.43% higher than last year, or in dollar amounts, $127,792 extra that we have to raise in taxation for the town budget. What does that mean dollar-wise? If valuation stays the same, dollar-wise for the town portion, not to be confused with the county portion or the school portion, just the town portion, means you would have to pay an extra $20 per 100,000 of your valuation of your home. So most homes in Poland, the average, believe it or not, is about 250,000. So they'd be paying about $45, $50 extra for all the same services that you've had in town. We're not reducing services, as we'll talk about in a couple of these. We're actually adding a couple of extra positions that we feel are needed by the town. And so we'll talk about that as we go through. But that's kind of where I wanted to start with. Article 6 is something we see every year. It's to see if the town will vote to make all taxes assessed for towns 2027 fiscal year, July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, due in 2 installments, with the first half of the total amount assessed due and payable on October 1st, 2026, and the remaining half due on April 1st, 2027, and to charge interest at the rate of 7%, that is calculated by the state, not us, per year computed on a daily basis on any portion of the installment due that remains outstanding as of November 1, 2026 and May 1, 2027. And to see if the town will vote pursuant to Title 36 MRSA, Section 506A, to set the interest rate to be paid by the town on abated taxes at 3%. Again, that is set by the state, not by us. And 3, to see if the town will permit the tax collector or their designee to waive accidental tax and trust payment shortages in the amount not to exceed $5. What exactly does that mean? That means if someone was 2 days late on their taxes and they owe an extra $1.30 and it comes to us, we would write that interest off up to $5 to make their account zero and balance out. That way we don't have to go after them for $1.30. Any questions on that article? Article 7, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $3,359,291 in revenue from non-property tax resources to reduce the total amount authorized to be raised by taxation, and further to see if the town will authorize the Board of Selectpersons and Treasurer to accept any additional revenues or funds that may be used to reduce the amount required to be raised by taxation. So revenue went up by 4.55% this year, or an increase of $146,216. Believe it or not, this is one that we kind of shake our head at each year because a lot of people vote down this article and we're not quite sure why. And so I want to make sure people understand that this article is for us to receive the money that we get out there and not have to raise and appropriate more money by taxing folks more. So this is what we feel is going to come in, that we are confident is going to come in, and we want to lower what we have to raise in taxes by the $3,359,291. So that one is a really important one. If you say no to all the rest, say yes to that one because that allows us to collect the money. So, any questions? Article 8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,673,849 for general government. General government in a whole is down by 0.07% or $1,151. What does general government include? Well, it includes the general government line, which is down by 1.01%. The buildings and ground line, which is up by 17.97%. Why is that up by almost 18%? It is up because we have our public works maintenance person who we are promoting to a director position as of the beginning of the year, because he is now in charge of taking all over, managing all the contracts that we have and stuff like that for our heating and all the building maintenance and stuff. Where before we had multiple people doing it, things were getting missed. Now we have one person that is in charge of doing that, so a lot more responsibility on his plate. And he has saved us costs already by working into this position to see how he's gonna work out, by saving us heating costs and stuff like that, by looking around for different things that we could use that might help save. Consolidating, we had 2 different companies doing our alarm systems, and he was able to put everybody on the same alarm system, and we saved money because obviously we're a bigger account now with them. So those are the things that he's looking at and taking care of, rather than each department individually doing that now. It also includes cable TV. Cable TV is not what you watch on TV. It is going up by 2.07%. And why is that going up? That's just going up in the increase in what we pay our people to broadcast it for us. And I say that being funny because we did have one person one year ask why we were paying $15,000 for cable TV for us to watch it during the day.
Oh, boy.
So I just want to make sure people know that that is not what that's for. We're not watching cable TV. It is actually for the broadcasting that we do of our meetings and stuff. Any questions on Article 8? Article 9, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $751,721 for community services. Community services in a whole is down by 0.57%, or a total of $4,308. What does community service entail? It entails our code enforcement office, which is up by 1.86%. Our recreation salaries, which are up by 4.42%. Our health officer remains the same. Our beach maintenance goes up by 10.41%. It is not in wages. It is in the wage line, but it is not, the person is getting paid more, it's just more hours that they're working going forward. Conservation services remains at 0% increase. General assistance, 0% increase. And the big one is Ricker Library goes down by 6.16%. Why does that go down? Our director of the library, Joanne Messer, is retiring after having been with us for a long time, and so the person stepping into her role does not have the years of service, so she starts at the base salary for that role as a first-time person in that role. So that's where we have the savings of 0.57. Any questions?
Yeah, how is that measured, by the way? The salary? Is that merit-based, is it by yearly, what's the percentage of that? You know?
Everybody starts at step 1 when they're in a new position,
Okay,
and then it goes up by the years that you're in that position. The first few climb pretty quick. I believe you have a step increase in step 2, step 3, and then it goes step 5, then like step 9, then like step 14. So as you get up in years, the increase goes. Once you hit, I believe, 22 years, you max out, and you just get the COLA going forward. You get no step increase.
what are those step increases, what does that entail?
2%.
2%, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And with the new person starting out, are they getting credit for the period of time they've worked in the library to begin with?
They are getting that credit towards vacation and sick time allowances. They are not getting the credit in the new position because they haven't been in that position.
Okay.
And so they're already starting at a much higher base wage as a year 1 in the director position than what they are making today. And that person has been with us for 11 years here in the town. That's moving up to that director position. All right, going on to Article 10. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,040,073 for public works and $559,084 for solid waste. Public works is going up 7.08% or $68,743, and solid waste is going up 7.2% or $37,551. Why are they going up? Public Works is going up because we are looking for a 6th person to be on the road and to have available at all times. That way we can have all of our plow routes covered at all times. And Adam can be doing other things if he needs to be like parking lots and stuff rather than being on a plow route. That way those are also getting done at the same time that plow routes are getting done. So that covers what we would need for the salary and for any benefits that the person takes. Why is solid waste going up? I am going to be a horrible one explaining this, but that is for the tipping fees or what it costs us per ton at Maine Waste to Energy. They went from $55 a ton to $88 a ton starting next fiscal year. So that hit us hard. We have to plan for that. We do have some other things we're looking into that we will delve further into. However, because we are one of the initial members of Maine Waste to Energy and we helped take out that initial bond, we have some money already into this from the bond that we helped pay in the original. So it's a hard decision going forward of how do we do that when we have sunken costs into that actual building and stuff like that. So, but we are keeping track of it and working hard on it, and the town manager is part of the committee for doing that. Any questions?
No, but I think that's important. I know there's some ideas.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge
Yeah.
area where we can save
Yeah,
the taxpayers in the town.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
exactly.
And one other question, that bond, we have monies invested, you said? So we have to make sure, well, obviously that investment, we don't wanna lose it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because it's been paid off for a while now, but I mean, we had an initial part of that investment when the building was built and bonded and stuff, so we
Yeah.
don't get any of that back, unfortunately, if we walk away, so
Yeah,
we're looking at, that also as, and if we walk away because we're a member community, we have to pay our portion of any outstanding bills as of the day we walk away, so.
slight pain point, but a better down the road
Yeah.
decision, I think.
Yep, so like I said, we're keeping close track of that, and hopefully, we'll.
Yeah.
We'll work that out. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,591,434 for public safety. This is our highest increase, and this increase represents 15.3%, 36%, or the equivalent of $344,956. Why? And I'm getting there. So our fire rescue, this includes quite a few different departments, so I'll break it down. Our fire rescue is going up 14.44%. Why is it going up? It's going up for a couple of reasons. One is contract negotiations with wages and salaries for the full-time firefighters. And also because we have a real problem of forced overtime with our full-timers right now, almost 300% higher than any other community in the state. That means that they are working many more shifts than what they should, and they're being told they have to work them. They're not getting to volunteer, they're being told. That's a concern when you get to people being tired, burnt out, things like that from their jobs. So in order to alleviate that, we have put in the budget 2 new full-time 12-hour shifts that will work during the days. The minimum staffing mandate won't change, so that will still stay at 4 during the days. However, we will have 5 on during the days. That way if someone does end up calling out, they can still run with the 4 and we no longer have to force somebody. Wage-wise, it stays pretty relative because we're just kind of taking from the per diem line and the overtime line to cover these wages. What hits us is the benefit costs for these 2 new positions. We have to say they're gonna take a family plan. They may take no plan at all. Great, works for us, but we have to budget in a family plan for them. And then with the contract negotiations, obviously they were looking for a little bit extra in pay also. The next one that hit us hard is on the ASO. Our law enforcement went up by 19.76%. That was a big increase. Again, why is that such a big increase? Looking at the ASO contract, it is for wages and wages only.
Mhm.
Their wages went up between 30 and 35% overall throughout the whole ASO. And so we're seeing the tail end of that. We've had some people come to us and say, let's start our own, police department. We've looked at it. And it would cost us more to start it. It would cost us more to keep it going than what it costs us for our contract now. And then the liability is on the town for anything that happens.
Mhm.
We kind of like having the liability with ASO rather than with the town. If officer is in court or something, ASO just sends another officer over to cover the pull-in shifts, and we don't have to worry about finding someone to cover those and paying someone overtime while we're still paying someone to be at court for the day. So again, it's one of those things that we've looked at it. We think right now this is still the best option. We have talked to our sheriff about the crime statistics. We are seeing a lot more crime offenses here in Poland. And one of the biggest things that having the person 24/7 now, the people 24/7 is that they're going out to the medical calls at night, which was not happening before. And that being present at the medical calls at night is a huge help and safety, issue for our fire rescue team, so we appreciate them there. People also say, well, can we cut it down to only days now? Cut the contract, so we only do days like we used to. Well, we could, however, that requires a petition by citizens to go back to town meeting, because town meeting is the one that decided to have 24/7 coverage. So town meeting is the one that has to take away 24/7 coverage, so that would require us to go back to town meeting and to have that voted on and it to be voted in the affirmative in order to cut any coverage from ASO.
I'd like to make a point on that. There's several towns within Androscoggin County, being on the budget committee myself, where they want to adopt what Poland has. But they're going through their red tape and everything for safety concerns as well. So as much as this may seem high, I think the return on investment is well worth it for our law enforcement and our rescue, by far.
Stan?
Two other things. One, I don't think you mentioned it, is that when we looked at this before, of having our own department, if you look what's going on in Sabatis, and I'm not sure what the situation is in Mechanic Falls now, people that have their own departments, they're having trouble getting people.
Yes.
And that responsibility falls on the town to do it as opposed to the sheriff's department. If somebody leaves the sheriff's department, it's up to them to get the replacement. And, why did I lose my train of thought? The other thing is, from talking with a couple of people in town, a couple of people in the sheriff's department, that evidently there's a lot of stuff going on here at night.
Yes.
And, we don't hear much about it. Fortunately, it's not super serious that it shows up in a paper or something. But there's a lot of stuff going on that if these guys weren't here handling it, we could be getting a sheriff covering that's out in Livermore.
Right.
And it's gonna take them 35, 40 minutes to get here, so.
Good point, Stan.
And what was happening prior to when we didn't have the nighttime coverage here is there were a lot of things that, because there was bigger events going on elsewhere out in the county, that those things just got rolled over onto the desk of the daytime sheriff that was coming in for our daytime shift to take care of when he got on shift, because it wasn't considered an emergency or anything. This prevents that. It allows the sheriff to be out there, be within always a 20-minute radius of pretty much anywhere in town if needed. So,
And the fire and rescue, the two that are going to be hired, which is great, those will be non-union, correct? Or they're gonna
No,
be union?
they will be union. Yep.
Okay, so they won't be, okay, good.
yep, they will
Okay.
be union members.
So that would make that 10 then,
Yep,
correct?
it will make it 10, so they will be on the forced list, so they will have to be part of that forced.
Okay.
So,
That locks in 10, is
Yep.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yep.
good.
all right, moving on to the next one. To see if the town will appropriate for the tax increment financing districts an estimated total amount of $912,777 depending upon actual mill rate. This is down 7% or down $68,723 from last year. It is down just because we are coming to the end of the life of our TIFs. We don't need to shelter as much money, and this was all part of the drawdown plan that we talked about probably about 5 years ago and set in place. And it's to get it so that way at the end of the life of the TIFs, we have no money remaining in those accounts. We don't want money in those accounts because if we do, we see a huge tax shift to people where your mill rate is going to bottom out one year. And you're gonna be like, yes!
You did.
And then next year, it's gonna skyrocket back up and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh. So this is to keep that stable through the entire time, that way we don't see that shift.
Yeah.
So,
And
any
The
questions?
TIFs run out 2030?
One runs out 2027 next year, which is the DTV one, and the other two run out in 2030.
Okay, I thought they were all 2030.
Yep.
Okay.
Article 13, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate $1,210,000 for the fiscal year 27 capital improvement program for the capital reserve accounts. This is down by 7.85% or $103,060. And why is it down? It's down because little less in the paving road reserve. Based on what we could get done and stuff this year, we are going to spend less than what we needed, so it went down a little bit. And then we also took the contingency down. We had a mark when we started with the contingency, which is our emergency fund, to bring it up to a certain amount. We've hit that amount. So we're not gonna keep putting $50,000 in there any year when we haven't expended any of that. We're gonna keep it at the amount that it's at and only put 5,000 in it this coming year. Unless we know for certainty that something needs to be replaced that we weren't anticipating, like a furnace or something like that. Any questions?
The roads, so we're looking good there, right?
Yes.
Because we had that plan last year.
Yep.
I know of a public works person for a town that, to avoid their taxes from going up, they're not gonna be doing any paving at all and only filling potholes.
Wow.
Only. So, I won't name that town, but, anyway.
Yeah.
So just to put things in perspective for the public on why it's important to have the budget that we do, so that we can maintain the roads, public safety and everything else, so.
And right now, the roads are slated to be Johnson Hill Road, Russell Road, Colbath Road, Number 5 Road, Westview Drive, Second Avenue, and Birch Drive.
Was that the final code on Johnson?
It looked like it was.
Yeah,
I'm
Because
I'm
we
looking
redid that
at-
road a few years ago.
Yeah. Finish pave on Johnson Hill, finish pave on Russell Road. And then they are doing, it looks like, I'm gonna get this wrong, is it Potash Brook to corner of Agassiz Village. Looks like that's a shim and pave on Johnson Hill Road. And Colbath Road is a finished pave. Number 5 Road is a finished pave. Westview Drive is a finished pave.
are they
And then
gonna,
Second Ave and Birch Drive would be the shim and pave is the beginning.
on that finished pave, are they gonna be putting the center lines in on Colbath?
Did you center lines usually go on Colbath?
Well, when I first moved here, they did, I don't know, years ago.
I don't know. If center lines have been on there, then yes, they would be on the road. I think our center line paving RFP is actually out.
I think it would be
We've
smart
been
in that
doing
road.
that in the spring.
Yeah, yeah, I know, yeah, that would be
And
doing
we
it,
have the benefit of it
yeah,
all summer into fall.
yeah,
As
Tell
opposed
you
to
in
doing it
just
in
a
the fall,
minute here.
and you can't see it once winter gets in.
yeah, I know.
Oh, nope, I actually have that. It's sitting in my inbox waiting to go out to you guys to approve this time around. So
Perfect.
you'll see the roads listed on
Thank you.
Tuesday night, next Tuesday.
Okay.
All right, next question, Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate approximately $20,000 based on the mill rate for overlay for the purpose of granting tax abatements and addressing any other tax errors. This is something we put in every year. If we don't expend that full $20,000, what happens to it? It falls back through to our general fund at the end of the year, but this is in case we have any tax errors or anything when we're putting out bills, which could be something was exempt and we accidentally forgot to exempt it, or, you know, we billed someone in error twice or something like that. This takes care of those without putting us in the hole. Any questions? Okay. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Select Persons to transfer from the town's unassigned fund balance an amount of $35,000 for the purpose of funding the property tax assistance ordinance, an amount not to exceed $262,943 for the purpose of reducing the total amount authorized to be raised by taxation. So what is this? People ask that all the time. What does this even mean? I don't understand. What is this money coming from? Well, first of all, it's taxes you've already paid in through the years. How did we get this money in an account? We got the money in an account by us not spending all of our budgeted money because we were able to have some savings throughout the years, or by us collecting more revenue than what we thought we were going to have. So when we do that, the following year, whatever we were over, by this year we ended up with $262,000 more. We asked the taxpayers to say, hey, let us count that as revenue to lower your taxes by $262,000 for the town. We're giving it back to you because you paid it in one way or another, whether it was you registered a vehicle or we collected some taxes. We have it extra sitting around and we want to give it back to the taxpayers. We can only grow that fund by so much by law, and we don't want to overgrow it. And so we're trying to keep where we need to be and make our auditors happy, but also give back to the town if we able. The $35,000 is for those in town who qualify for the 70 and over senior property tax assistance. And that's based on your IRS filings, for your main state revenue filing, sorry. And that's a really helpful program. We spent about $30,000 in that last year, so we're asking to go up to $35,000 this year. Again, this is not money that we're raising and appropriating, this is the money that we have extra sitting in a fund right now. So your taxes are not affected by those amounts. Any questions? Next up, Article 16. Article 16. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,514,188 for county taxes. That is an increase by, I believe it was 6 point something percent. If I can find it in my book, I will let you know. Should have had it ready for y'all. And an increase of 6.25% over last year's. Much better than what we thought. We initially heard it was going to be a 13% increase, so we were actually thrilled when we got a 6.25% increase. Yes, it still did increase by $89,000 from last year to this year, but the townspeople need to understand that we don't have any control over that budget. And if the townspeople vote this down, we still have to pay that full bill, the $1.5 million. It doesn't change us having to pay that full bill. We will just have to take the money from somewhere else in town. So it has to be on there because we have to get permission to spend the money. But again, we have to pay it. It's a bill to us at the end of the day. Any questions? Article 17 is by citizen petition to see if the town will vote to adopt a commercial solar energy facility moratorium to last 180 days for rural, residential, and village zones. A copy of the proposed moratorium is available for inspection in the clerk's office as well as on the town's website at polandtownoffice.org. So this was done by citizen petition. What that means is that the board has no authorization since they have received the signatures needed to not put it on the ballot. They will actually have to certify it on Tuesday night at their meeting, and it will have to be on the ballot for voters to vote on. Stan, I know you had some questions. Shoot us. What you got?
Well, just the fact that it's there, I don't fully understand why they want this moratorium. I understand there are no big projects in the works. Whatever has already been approved is gonna be done, because this doesn't prevent that. And I just don't understand what these folks are looking for, but that's it.
Anybody? And I can't help you much with that because
No,
it's
I
not a
understand
town, it wasn't put on by the town or the board, it was put on by citizens. I do know when they spoke to the board about it and asked the board to put it on, and the board declined to do that by vote, it was about, they felt that the natural habitat wasn't gonna be kept in check and how, once the solar things are decommissioned, where stuff goes and how it gets back to its natural habitat if somebody walks away from it and stuff. So they were just looking to stop anything from moving ahead and try to look at our comprehensive land use code and see if there can be changes made to update that.
I wonder if they're doing anything to stop the use of oil, coal, gas.
Well, this personally affected, so this is a very tough, because it's a landowner and then it's a resident surrounding it, so very tough to get in the middle of all that. But they have concerns because their property surrounds that particular solar farm. But then the landowner, that's his land, so, you know, and then down the road, it is an issue of disposing of solar panels because there's no really good way of disposing of them. So that's kind of the gist of it, so, yeah, kind of sum it up in a nutshell, right? Right, that's pretty much it, right? Yeah.
It's more focus on commercial level projects in residential
Yeah.
zones.
But I'm wondering what would happen if somebody wanted to put in a new coal burning generator, or even a natural gas is relatively speaking clean as using solar or wind. And so
Definitely good questions.
Well, and to clarify, so it's not for solar. It's an investment of the landowner where he leases and makes money. The company that sells the stuff to the landowner makes money. So what it's gonna entail as far as what it's gonna produce, that really never came out. So I think that's what the real underlining is. So you're right, if I wanna put a nuclear plant in my yard, is it going to help me get good energy, or am I doing it because I'm getting paid to lease my land? So, that's what I'm saying, it's tough to, you know, see both sides, it's not an easy thing to argue a bit, but, anyway.
thank you.
So, any other questions? All right, so you guys can go ahead and close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing at 6:42.
Second,
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Alby.
yes.
With a vote of 3-0, you have closed the public hearing at 6:42 PM. Have a good evening, everyone.
Nice job.
Thank you.